Hello, everybody. Sorry we're late on. We were just having a general chat about stuff that you probably shouldn't have a chat about, and I didn't realise the time. So, hello and welcome to the Rangers Rabble phone-in. Again, it's another test, and hopefully it will work. We shall wait and see. But the phone lines will be open in a wee second. Just a big hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Tonight I am joined by Mark. Mark, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm very, very good. Good to be back. It's been a while.
Where have you been?
Where have I not been? Do you want me to start? How long have we got here? I was away on holiday. I was away at my place in Spain for 14 days, and then I come back and had a wee whistle stop tour of the Tottenham's new ground. A little bit corporate, so I got pampered and got awful drunk and had some lovely food and done a bit of work for the Rabble while I was there.
Yes, you did. But yeah, how is Tottenham Stadium, by the way?
I mean, outstanding, next level, properly next level. Heated seats, go figure. Heated seats, couldn't believe it. I thought somebody was kidding me on. Says, did you switch it? Boy sat next to me says, did you switch your seat on? I was like, to him, I mean, can I swear? I was like, oh, I says, heated. He's like, seriously? No, he's like, look, at a wee button. Aye, heated seats. Unbelievable. And it's done. It's built, apparently, for the acoustics to make it louder. Outstanding. I mean, they're not very loud, but when they do sing, it's proper loud. So say they've done that maybe 4 times in the whole full 90 minutes. But yeah, something else. Absolutely special. Really, really was. I was very, very impressed.
Could you see how James was loving your conversation there? He was writing about it, man, wasn't he? They did not look bored whatsoever. James, how are you?
Not at all, mate. Not at all. I was just thinking, mate.
Just you figure out how to get that mute button off.
Aye.
Oh, is that the end of your conversation? Fair enough. Okay, don't move on then. Stuart, how are you?
I'm good, well. Mark. I'm good. I mean, I don't know if Mark belongs in the Rabble. He's clearly far too rich for us if he's away. You know, a 14-day holiday and then corporate at the new Spurs Stadium, £130 bottles of champagne and all that. I mean, that's quite an extravagance.
Hold on a minute. Let me just back up here a minute. It was a freebie. I never paid for anything. The holiday I paid for, but the trip to Spurs was a freebie.
And he didn't offer it to the Rabble lads. That's shocking.
No, I mean, I was lucky. I got offered it. Put it that way.
Right. Okay. Let's start talking about some football, shall we? That's 3.5 minutes of utter dross. So we shall quickly move on. Right, folks. The phone lines are open. 01416287237 to talk about anything you want. Obviously, as long as it's about Rangers. Unless you want to talk about a team you went to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Fire in. Everybody watching, please let me know if there's any echoes, if there's any issue with the sound. I was up until 2 a.m. last night trying to figure this out, and I think I've finally managed it. So yeah, get your calls in 01416287237. We will chat. Obviously, a wee bit about the game at the weekend. I don't really know how much more you can dive into that, but we shall try our best. And we'll talk about some transfer targets, one being Duke at Aberdeen seems to be doing the rounds. Talk about Burnley being interested in him. Rabbi Matondo, is he making a comeback? Is he making a start in a Rangers jersey? We'll talk about that as well. And anything else, we'll even look ahead to the Aberdeen game if you want. It's completely up to you. It's your show. 01416287237. Now, Mark, there's been a lot of chat about goalkeepers, and I'm trying to find Beep Bop Boop. What's your thoughts on Jack Butland? I don't think that's a transfer that is affordable to Rangers, Mark, is it?
I don't know. I think he might be in a free, you know. I mean, I'm, you know me, I'm not one for research.
Wages-wise.
But I would say the boy's probably made himself a millionaire. So, I mean, if we can offer him half-decent money, which we probably can, maybe not half-decent Premiership money, but we could probably offer him a good wage. And if you're getting him for free, then that helps. But I don't know. I mean, you can only ask these questions. You can only test the water and see what comes back. So why not? Stranger things have happened. We get Aaron Ramsey was in 300,000 a week, and we still get him.
Aye, but Aaron Ramsey was one of the most injury-prone players you'll ever meet, James. Jack Butland, it's a strange one. It's a guy I don't know a lot about, James, but you always hear about him. He was always on Football Manager, doing really well. Obviously, we do need a new goalkeeper. I think that goes without saying, James. Is Jack Butland that man?
I think he's a very good goalkeeper. I believe the reports where he's been at Stoke and stuff like that, he's obviously been very good for them. As Mark says, go and ask a question. That's what you can do. At the end of the day, you're giving the guy a chance, man, to go and play in Europe, win trophies. Don't think he's actually been at a club that's obviously been able to offer him that. Obviously, the wages will be maybe a stumbling block, but however, you say to him, just, as Mark says, go and ask a question. You don't ask, you don't get.
No, Mark knows that very well. You don't ask, you don't get. CGM, Butland is out of contract. He hasn't played a minute for Man United. He hardly ever played for Palace. Years ago, Stoke priced him out of a big move when Stoke got relegated. Stuart, you watch a lot of the EPL. You know a lot about English football. Is this a realistic target for Rangers? And listen, is he good enough?
So his career's kind of stalled. In terms of ability-wise, when he first came through, he was kind of touted as the next big thing. You know, and he got England caps quite early in his career as well, when he was playing for maybe not the most glamorous of teams. So, is it doable? I think Mark's maybe got a point there that, you know, he's probably a very wealthy man. So I suppose it's what's driving him. Is he desperate to play football? Would he be excited about the kind of prospect or the project of coming up north and playing for a team like Rangers, or is he still looking, you know, for another big move down south? I mean, he's only 30, so he's probably at a right good age if you could get him. So look, absolutely worth the question. I think it would be. I think that's the sort of potential that we should be looking for in that, you know, stature wise, ability wise, etc. I think it's a really good fit. I suppose it just depends on what he wants. Now he might look at goalkeepers, like Joe Hart, example, and think, well, do you know what? I fancy a bit of that actually. And as James has pointed out as well, guarantee of European football. He hasn't played a lot of games recently, so to come up here and be, you know, but unless he, you know, doesn't perform, obviously, but he's pretty much guaranteed to be playing week in, week out. That could be the big drawing point. But in terms of ability wise, yeah, I think he would be a really good fit, and worth asking the question. Absolutely.
Okay, doc. Right, we have our first caller of the evening, John. John, how you doing?
Hi there. Hi. I've got two questions. So you can just say yes or no with them. Firstly, I was wondering about the semi-final. Do you think we should make some kind of change in attack? Maybe play Sakala as the actual striker with Morelos behind?
All right, okay. So change in attack for the semi-final mark.
I think there's a possibility. We've kind of been playing with two up front anyway, as it stands at the minute. Beale's kind of trying to move towards this, so in some way, shape, or form, I think we probably will play two up front. I think it's a one-off game, and I think it's one of these games that, let's face it, it's the only thing we've got left to play for this season. So for me, it's a must-win. So I think there's every possibility that they will play two up front. I mean, it's not going to be a case of a rigid one up with one behind or anything like that. I think it's quite a fluid thing that Beale likes to play. So I think there's every possibility there will be two up front. Whether it's Sakala and Morelos, I don't know. I don't see why not. But as I said, I definitely think there will be two up front, or two up front, kinda, if that makes any sense.
Do you think, John, that the manager's going to risk changing formation for the semi-final? When look, he hasn't beat them yet. We've lost out on the league, and this is a must-win game.
Well, that's the reason I think you should do that, though. I just think we're sort of playing the same thing against them, and we're never getting anywhere up front. Play Sakala. Yeah, I think Sakala does give them problems.
Yeah, I suppose I can see it. I just don't see, Stuart. I don't see the manager changing his not philosophy, because I'm still not 100% sure what that is yet. But I don't see him moving tactics, formations for the semi-final. I see him sticking with what he's most comfortable with. If that makes sense.
I think it could depend on who's available. If Goldson's back, I would have at Parkhead. If Goldson had been back, I'd have went 3 at the back. And I'm with John. I would have also played Sakala as your number 9, because of the fact that they like to push forward, and it would give you that option of going in behind them, letting them run in there. Whereas I think we know what we get with Morelos in terms of he likes that physical contact. There was lots of good stuff in that last game against them, but undoubtedly the forward 3, it didn't work. We didn't threaten enough. So could I see him doing something different for the semi-final? Yes, good, because it might also give them something to think about. I think it might give us a wee bit of greater protection at the back if you went 3 back as well. Dare say we might want to talk about our defending recently. So actually having a Sakala up there to maybe utilise his pace might give them something different, because I think at the moment they seem quite content to try and have that physical battle with Morelos. The only thing I'll caveat with that is I think what happens on Sunday is important. If Alfie plays on Sunday and scores again, then I think he's almost a certainty to start, because if he scored 2 against St Mirren and he plays decent against Aberdeen, then you might be seeing Alfie hitting a bit of form, and the manager might think, I'll just stick with that. But it wouldn't surprise me if he does throw something in there just to kind of change it up a bit, because the forward 3 didn't work or didn't look threatening enough against the game at Parkhead.
John, can I just throw something back at you then? If he's fit and available, and you're talking about playing 2 up front, would Alfie and Cholak work together?
I would like to see something different. Yeah, I would. I don't see why not. I definitely need to start something, because we've just got to get at them at the start and see how it, whatever happens. But we've got to do it for the start.
What was your second point? What was your second point? You said you had 2.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that Cholak's not the best movement, but still, it's not. That might just be his game. Oh, my second point was Bill said the other day that you're going to see clear connections in the signings he's going to make with him or the other members of his coaching team. I don't know if that fills with a great deal of reassurance, to be honest, in terms of players coming in for next season. How do you feel about that,
James?
I do think you'll see a lot of changes in the summer. I think it's been proven now that there is a lot of deadwood at the club, that they've had their chances and they've just not been able to take it. The players that he's also going to be looking to bring in, I hope that they're going to be brought in to complement like your Cantwells and your Raskins, because I think the 2 signings have been brilliant. As I've said before, I think Raskin's an absolute gem of a player. I think he's all-round player. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and I think if we can get anybody in the same mould as Raskin to come in there and complement the team, I think it will be a good. I think you will see a whole different Rangers side next year.
Aye, in terms of transfers, John, heading into next season, in terms of players in, players out, what kind of numbers would you be happy with? How many new players would you like to see brought in?
Well, I think it will be 5. I think it'll be 5. That goalie, another midfielder beside Raskin, a sort of wide attacker, and a striker. Is that 4? And a centre half, aye, that'll be 5. But I'm hoping he goes into different places as well. You know, he gets with the right kind of players, you know, just guys that he's used to having history with. I think he's got too much he goes down that line too much. He trusts them, so that doesn't mean that they're actually going to be good enough to win us the league. Just because he's had history with.
He did say though, Mark, didn't he, that he didn't say all the players, but he did say a lot of the players are going to be ones that he's worked with before and ones that he trusts.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's for me. That's quite positive because it was at Chelsea for years, it was at Liverpool for years, it was in Brazil for years. He helped manage it. He was assistant manager at Aston Villa last year, and QPR. So I mean, that's not a bad pool of players. If he's, I mean, how many players has he worked with there? And I'm 100% sure there's a few gems going to be cutting about there. So for me, that fills me full of confidence rather than dread. And if there's anybody going to know how good these boys are, it's somebody that's going to work with them day in, day out. So, I mean, I'm hoping. My thought process when he said that was, I bet you there's a few wee gems for Chelsea. I mean, that Chelsea's under 23s team and below them, majority of them are millionaires. These boys they've cherry picked the cream of the crop over Europe for years and years and years, and they've made a fortune just selling young players that haven't made the first team squad. They've still made a fortune on them, selling them for 4 and 5, 6 million. Some of them above that. So for me, that's a positive rather than a negative. I don't know, as I said, maybe what I'm saying is maybe resonating with a few people, but for me, that can only be a positive. I really, really think that's great. As I say, there must be a few wee gems somewhere along the lines.
I would just say on that.
Sorry, John, say that again.
I would like to see Cameron Archer being the striker.
See, again, right, Stuart, people bring these players up, and this is my fault. I don't watch a lot of English football. So when people like John and that say, like, people like Cameron Archer, I've got no idea who these people are.
I mean, I think if we could get somebody like Archer, then you would be absolutely loving it. I would be. I think there'll be a lot of eyes on somebody like Cameron Archer this summer, and again, it's whether or not he feels that he's at an age that he might want to stick around down south for his next move rather than coming up here. I think what John says is, I can understand that, because actually I was having a conversation with one of my neighbours today, and they said the exact same point that John's raised. It's made them nervous. The name that they used, because it was Lyndon Dykes. It's that idea. Is that idea? Is that what he's meaning with that type of player that he's going to go to? Because that's the other side of it is what Mark's saying. No, he's clearly he's worked with a lot of players over his career, so it doesn't necessarily mean that. But I think sometimes people, understandably, might be a bit nervous that he's just going to go back to a QPR and it'll be somebody like a Lyndon Dykes that he picks up. But yes, if we could get Cameron Archer, I'm on board with that. But I think that could be a tough one.
Final word to you, John, before I let you go.
No, I think that's that, yeah.
All right, okay. And was the sound all right, John? Was everything all right?
Yeah, it's okay, yeah.
Spot on. So hopefully I've finally got this working. John, thanks very much for phoning in, buddy, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Okay.
Bye.
There we go, folks. A successful phone call. Happy days. So yeah, 0141 628 7237. If you want to get on, have a blather about anything Rangers, go for it. Clearly now the phone lines are working. I'm going to need a producer. 100% going to need a producer, because I'm having to mess about in the background with loads of stuff and jump off screen. But we'll get there. It's slow steps. Bebop Boop, I want Joe Savage as director of football, doing great at Hearts. And that's a super chat as well. Thank you, Bebop Boop. We've kind of had our say on Ross Wilson and Ross Wilson leaving James, but Bebop Boop asks the question, we shall answer. Michael Beale's pretty much come out and said that nothing's going to change until the end of the season. However, things in football always change. In terms of this director of football, sporting director role, And this would be interesting to get somebody to phone in actually to get their opinion on it as well. 01416287237. Is it something that we need, James?
I think it is when you've got obviously a massive project ahead of you that Beale has. Obviously, the guy can't go out and scout every single player himself and watch everything. He's obviously going to have to rely on his contacts and obviously having that buffer between the board and Michael Beale. But I don't know, because I don't know what the boy Savage has been doing at Hearts. I don't know. Obviously, I don't really kind of follow any other team in Scotland or any other team apart from Rangers, so I don't know what's going on at Hearts, what kind of youth players and stuff like that the guy's maybe been bringing through, or what players he's been looking at and stuff like that. So, but for me, I do think it is an important role, and it's important for Michael Beale. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's good because hopefully Michael Beale will have his say as well on who's going to come in to be the next director of football, sporting director, whatever it is that you name it.
I mean, he did say, Stuart, that he would be more than happy to do that job. I don't know if that was just, trying to take a wee bit of pressure off the rumours circulating round about him. But modern day football now, is it a necessity?
I think it is. I think it's far too much, because it's not just about a role that means I've identified this player and I'll go and have a conversation with them and get a contract signed. It's so much more about that. So you've got your academy, you've got your facilities, whether that be at Ibrox or the training centre, you've got your women's team. Ross Wilson was the director of football operations. So that medical and all that all falls under that. So there's absolutely no way that Michael Beale can take on that role. So you need somebody there. Now, I think Michael Beale will be more involved, and I think we're already seeing that in terms of, I think Gio would have been, I need a player, i.e. I need a centre-half, I need a right-sided attacker, whatever it may well be, and he gives that to Ross Wilson. Ross Wilson then gets his scouting team to go and provide a list of players, and then they come to some sort of decision. I think Beale will be more hands-on in identifying players and who he wants. But you then want, he might have conversations with them, how he sees them playing in the team. But when it comes to contracts and wages and all that, then that shouldn't be on Beale's table. But the role encompasses far more than just that element of it. Let's say it's about the whole football operation, and his whole point was to make sure that with a consistency, if we ever have to move on. So, yeah, I no doubt we'll go back to that role.
Well, I mean, again, Mark, and I don't want to labour the point too much, and I feel as if I've already over-laboured the point. But it's not something that we're going to find anything out about, I don't think, until at the earliest pre-season. But again, if anybody watching wants to have their say, 01416287237, we're going to come on to talk about Duke at Aberdeen in a wee minute once Mark gives us his thoughts on the director of football. I'm seeing so many references to Randy Savage in the comments. What's going on, man? Was that the wrestler guy, wasn't it? Randy Savage, I think. No? Was it no? Have I got that totally
You'd be
wrong?
better with Lily Savage.
Rest in peace, Paul O'Grady, by the way. That was absolutely. But Mark, your thoughts on the director of football?
For me, I'm, as you probably know, I'm a wee bit old school. I see what they do moving forward. I do see that, but it's one of these European things that's been created, and now all of a sudden, as I said, I think simpler times, the manager just told you, right, this is what we're offering you. You're getting an extra fiver a week. But I think now that with the ladies team, the B team, the youth teams, there's a lot to take on. A lot to take on. I think that for me, more than the CV, it needs to be somebody that Beale gets on with. It needs to be an ally for Beale. I think that's the biggest thing for me, because the amount of times that you've seen managers falling out and there's something wrong behind the scenes and this and that, and it's all been down to relationships and button heads and stuff like that. So for me, I think you'll probably see Beale has a big say in who comes in as director of football above him. I think that I dare say, as I said, Bill's knowledge of the game and knowledge of people in the game is wide-reaching. We've known that for years, so I dare say that for me is more important than the fact that this guy might have a good CV and it might be this, because the problem is he's got to get on with Bill and he's got to be an ally. So, as I said, they'll bring somebody in. I think it will be probably pre-season or maybe just before or right round about the end of the season. I'm hoping. I think they'll be looking far and wide. I think that the first thing that springs to mind is ex-Rangers players that's done it, or somebody that's been connected with the club and stuff like that. But
Do you know
for
what?
me,
Sorry, Mark. Just on that point, right? Just on that point, and I'm going to take this to Stuart because, like I said, this again ties in with English football side of it. But just while I remember, because you know what my memory is like, Stuart, a lot of talk about Davy Weir, but there's also when you and again I say this all the time, social media, you can't judge opinion by social media. But you can take a little kind of snapshot from it. A lot of people talking about Davy Weir. Number one, Davy Weir is at Brighton, clearly doing a fantastic job at Brighton, obviously paid handsomely. Would he want to come back up to Scotland? Would he want to reroute his family back up here when most of his life's been spent down south? And there's a few people on social media saying we need to get away from ex-players, Rangers men coming back into the club. We need a fresh outlook. And I suppose we kind of had that fresh outlook with Ross Wilson to an extent.
Yeah, look, I think you're right. I think as Rangers fans, we do that quite. We kind of look to one of our own almost from that. So David Weir, yeah, look, he got promoted when the boy left Brighton to go to Newcastle. So they just promoted Weir up. Brighton are absolutely the model of football club that we should be looking at. You know, they not only they're a joy to watch. You know, if there's a team that you want to be watching at the moment in the Premiership, it's them, because the games that are involved, the way they play, their signing policy is phenomenal. They are going to make absolute fortunes in the summer for some of these players that they've brought up. Now, that's a difficult task to then keep going. So would you be interested? Potentially, because again, it's Rangers. So, you know, there would be potentially that draw. I asked a question, I think, in our group chat. Does how he left the club, does that kind of go against him? You know, I don't know what the relationship is quite like between him and some of the board members. So he's doing
How
the
did
role.
Steven Gerrard and Michael Beale leave the club?
Well, I think there was a bit more to the whole Warburton. Was he sacked? Was he angling for a move? That whole idea, that's where I'm going with that. But in terms of his CV and the job that he's doing, then yes, I think he's somebody that should be talked about. But yeah, I also get that and understand that point of saying, actually, maybe we need to broaden our horizons ever so slightly. And is there anybody else out there? Are we just going for someone because there's that connection, an ex-Rangers captain and they know the club? Do we need that so much now, or do we want to be getting some fresh ideas in? But he's a name that should certainly be in the conversation, I would say, for the role, 100%.
Okie doke, folks, right, 01416287237. Get your phone calls in. I spent forever trying to get this ready again. It feels like I've spent half my life trying to get this phone in working. So don't be shy. We had a great call for John earlier on, 01416287237. Give us your thoughts on the game at the weekend. Give us your thoughts on Director of Football, transfer targets, how you feel the seasons went, what's been the high points, what's been the low points, anything at all you want to talk about. Give us a phone, 01416287237. It's only me, Mark, Stuart and James, so nothing to worry about. You probably know more than us anyway. So, like I say, 01416287237. Do you know, I used to listen to guys on the radio, and I won't name the phone-in show. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what one I'm talking about. And I used to say, why did they always go on about the phone number? Why did they always mention the phone number? Because that's pure annoying. And now I know. And I understand it's pure annoying, and I apologise. But yeah. And also give us a wee like and subscribe while you're here. If it's your first time here, or it's not your first time here, but you haven't subscribed, give us a wee subscribe, give the video a like, it helps share it. And of course, if you want to help support the Rangers Rabble even more and get access to loads of extra shows, you can join our Patreon. The link for that is in the description. Plenty of extra shows, loads of extra content, more live shows as well. And we'll come on to a live show a wee bit later on. You'll be able to come. I think there's still another 20 tickets, 25 tickets left for that. Right, transfer news, James. I don't know his first name, right? That's how bad I am at this whole podcasting game, right? Duke at Aberdeen. Loads and loads of people talking about how we need to go and get him. I think he scored 18 goals. He's clearly been Aberdeen's best player. Now there's talk of Burnley coming in for him, so it would appear that Rangers have lost out. Then people saying, oh, but Aberdeen would charge us a fortune, etc. They've got a 50% sell-on clause to the team they got him from, etc. Blah, 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 blah. Duke, is he a player that you would want, James? Is he somebody who would improve Rangers? What's your thoughts?
We're also looking at his stats. He's got better stats than Kent, I think, this season. For me, it's obviously it would come down to the price on how much Aberdeen are wanting for him. Would they want to sell to Rangers? That's another big kind of question. But no, for me, I think the guy would be worth a punt at the right price. Let's see, his stats are obviously quite good. So no, it would be definitely worth a punt.
The issue being, Mark, of course, it's dealing with another Scottish club. It's dealing with Aberdeen. Aberdeen don't want to sell to Rangers. Why would they? It's one of the rivals. If Aberdeen could be our rivals in terms of league positions, etc. And we've seen in the past with Hibs trying to get players off them. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, some of the money that they're talking about is stupid. And to be fair, I don't really know much about the boy. To be fair, his stats are good. He looks half decent. I think probably with better players run about him, there's a potential to take him to the next level there. But bottom line is they're going to want stupid money from him, and I'm no for giving them stupid money for him. Simple as that. I think we can spend for wanting the kind of between 3 and 5 million that they're shouting one season in the Scottish League. Doesn't make you a £5 million player as far as I'm concerned. If he's done it consistently over maybe 2 or 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons, then yeah, that's maybe where you value. But to say one good season, and I think there's a few teams sniffing around about him, let's inflate his price. And if Rangers come call him, we'll stick another million on top of that. So for me, nah, unless they're willing to play ball, then no for me, sorry.
I always look, Stuart, at how a player's performed for an Aberdeen or a Dundee United, etc. Their stats, how they've got on, and I say, right, okay, so if they've done that with us, what would I be looking for? What would the club be looking for if another club came in sniffing about them? So we can't blame these smaller teams, can we, for wanting to maximise as much profit as they can for their players? But again, is Duke worth it?
No, look, absolutely. You know, they've got their own business to run. You know, Scottish football isn't awash with a lot of money, so I can understand the idea of, you know, why these clubs are looking to try and get top dollar, particularly if that deal that they did with Benfica to get them is structured in such a way that, yeah, we get them for a free, but actually whatever you sell them for going forward, you get 50%. The slight concern I have with players like that, and by the way, he looks a decent player and he's scored a decent amount of goals, so I do appreciate that, you know, as a Rangers fan this season, we could probably hardly be picky about a player that scored more goals than any of our strikers, you know, but playing for Rangers in the Scottish Premiership is going to be completely different than playing for Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership. And by that is, would Duke have scored 18 goals when he's up against 10 men behind the ball continuously? Or is he scoring those goals because he's in games that are far more open, because teams are not going to set up that way when they're at home to Aberdeen or when they go to Pataudry? So he's done that. So that would be the catch that I would have with a player like that, because sometimes I just think if you say, oh, he scored 18 goals for Aberdeen, I'm not sure that you're comparing like with like. Would he have scored 18 goals for Rangers this season? I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's the only thing I would always just caveat. That I don't think it's the same. He's not playing in the same type of games as what he would be playing if he was playing for Rangers.
Well, yeah, and Stuart, with the rumours, and like I say, we do have to say, caveat everything we're saying. Look, folks, it's rumours. I've got no inside information. Nobody on the panel does. Nobody in the group chats has got any inside information. So it is purely all rumour. But the rumours, Stuart, that Burnley are looking at Duke as well, and even a team like Burnley, with the small stadiums they've got, they can outbid us comfortably, can't they?
Well, easy, yeah. And I mean, secured promotion back to the Premiership already, so they know that they're going to have money in there. There's rumours that again they are really interested in Ryan Kent as well. And Company's got Burnley playing really good football. I would say that they're no longer the Sean Dyche Burnley team that we all remember. That they are a good footballing team, but again, they probably play in a division and they'll be playing games where they will be the ones having to sit in and counter away rather than they're on the front foot coming up against a team with 10 men behind the ball. So but if they want him, he'll go there because they'll offer him far more money. 100%.
Exactly. And it doesn't.
And it's the Premiership.
Yeah, and it's the Premiership, and money talks, doesn't it? And unless you're an Andy Halliday, you might knock back extra money down south to play for Rangers. But if you're a Duke at Aberdeen and Burnley come in and offer you 3 or 4 times what Rangers can, of course you're going to go. Okay, would you have Duke at Rangers? Is he good enough? Have you maybe seen a bit more of him than what myself or other people have seen? Maybe you can give us a wee bit of an insight. 01416287237. Let us know. I'm going to bring up somebody now, Mark. Right now, this hopefully might get somebody phoning in on 01416287237. There's rumours apparently. I haven't seen them. They're flying about the chat, and I like to just bring up random rumours anyway. Why not? That we're talking about Burnley. Ryan Kent apparently has been rumoured to go to Burnley. Listen, we could have the same conversation every single week if we really wanted to. Does Ryan Kent look interested? Has he been here too long? Is he actually, in the overall grand scheme of things, good enough to be at Rangers? Would you be surprised if there was links to Burnley for Ryan Kent?
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that the only reason they would go to Burnley would be to play in the Prem. And I think he's probably good enough to play for Burnley in the Prem. I really do. But I think for me, I'm sick to death of this Andy Morelos thing. For me, he had a wee bounce for a month when Beale came in and he upped his game a wee bit. No, I'm sorry, I don't see him fighting. I don't see him being good enough. I think somebody said it the other week. Flatter to deceive. I think that's what he's doing at the minute. I think he's saying all show and no go. That's what it looks like to me. So for me, I'm fed up. Just you know what? Just let him go wherever he wants to go. Let him go. Where you go? Same. Take Morelos with you. Simple as that. We're looking for the future. We're looking to build a squad, and we're looking to win this league next year. So, as far as I'm concerned, I wash my hands with a pair of them. We'll move on.
All for coat, no knickers. Is that what you were trying to say?
All show and no go. That's the one. Flatters to deceive.
I'm just thinking up random things to say now because I'm a bit worried that nobody's phoning. And I've been trying to set this up for ages, and I'm checking my levels in the background, the microphone levels. I'm testing all your levels. I'm getting the Skype levels. It's absolutely 100% free to phone in, folks. 01416287237. Yeah, James, you were on the reaction with me, weren't you? I'm sure it was you that was on the reaction.
Yes, mate. Yep.
Have you had a chance to watch the game back for the weekend yet? Have you seen anything different?
No, just it was a slog again. Although I did, obviously, one of the goals, I think it was like 60 odd passes or something, which I didn't really notice at the time. It wasn't until somebody pointed it out the day at work that it was, I think it was the Arfield goal. It was about 60 odd passes or something like that. which is nice to see. Nice to obviously hear as well that they're obviously making passes, all the movement and stuff like that. Again, a wee bit more upbeat now, I think, obviously, after the reaction. I know it was a slog, but we managed to dig it out. We managed to come back and obviously bang 3 goals in after we went 2-2, which I thought was going to be a different reaction show, as you said yourself, mate, on Saturday. But no, for me, I think I learned more about the kind of hang with the team that they are able to dig in and dig results out now, and that's all we're asking. We're just asking for them to gear 100% between now and the end of the season, and hopefully we'll do something in this semi-final, and we can obviously go into retain the Scottish Cup.
Do you know, Stuart, I did see something on social media today, right? During my lunch break, because of course I don't use my phone at work, so it was during my lunch break. There was a bit of controversy or something over a no-look pass. Not 100% sure what was going on with that, but I think somebody was making fun of somebody for a no-look pass, and then somebody brought up the Ayer one, and then somebody tried to say the Ayer one wasn't a no-look pass, he was just trying to check for space. And what's going on?
So Cantwell played a no-look pass through to the Arfield. That's where it was, and typically, because I think Sky Sports posted that goal, 60 passes. So of course, I think there was one comment from a Rangers fan and about 400 from them across the city. Just per usual, and for whatever reason, they've got really annoyed about Cantwell doing a no-look pass. And then obviously I think somebody's brought up Ayer, etc., and it's all kind of kicked off from there. So just the usual nonsense, that you get. In terms of talking about the game and stuff like that, being at it, I thought there was actually in the first half, I thought there was some decent football. There was a couple of nice moves. But I think what you are seeing is that we're fragile defensively a wee bit at the moment, and we are making basic errors, and teams are not having to work hard enough to get goals against us. When the first goal, don't take it away from the boy, it's an absolutely brilliant strike that he's done, but it's amateur defending in terms of the number of times we could have got rid of the ball. At any level of football, anytime I've played at, if you clear the ball, you've got to try and get out your box, and we were camped in our box, inviting them to fling crosses in, and I don't know if that's partly down to our defenders being aware that we've got a goalkeeper that's not going to come and collect anything, and whether that's in their minds as well, that's there. But we are so deep at times, and even when we clear the ball, there's a lack of appetite to kind of squeeze the game and try and get out to the edge of your 18-yard box, and you cause yourself problems. And again, I think the second goal highlighted that. If the boy doesn't put in the second goal, it's a penalty, because Souters just went straight through the back of somebody desperately trying to get the ball. So,
well, I'm going to have to interrupt you, Stuart, because I believe we have Dave on the line. Dave, how you doing?
How you doing, Martin? I'm from Corby.
Dave from Corby, mate. How's things?
All right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad now that you've phoned in and I've managed to get myself a second caller. So, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I hope we win the semi-final, because we're going to have to play good, Martin, on that day. We're going to have to take them apart, man.
Do we have to take them apart, or do we just simply have to beat them?
We just have to beat them, mate. On the day, we're just going to have to beat them. And we're just going to have to show up, and we're just going to have to beat them. That's all we can go for at the moment. And also, the team will have to step up and play and get in the semi-final.
It is. The semi-final mark itself is massive, and it is for a multitude of reasons. It is an absolute must-win.
100%, do or die, simple as that. Last chance saloon for probably a lot of these players. A lot of them are not going to be there, and this is their last chance to win something with Rangers. In fact, probably last chance for them to win something, I think, because if they're going to move on, then they're not going to teams that are fighting for titles or winning cups or fighting for cups. So, as I said, for me, that should be motivation enough for these players. It really should. I think that it's been an issue all season. As I said, that Stuart was saying about defences as well, but defence has been poor all season as well. But this is a must win, absolute must win. So it's do or die, 100%.
Right, Dave, I need to ask your opinion on a couple of things we've been talking about tonight, right? Seeing as I've got you on the phone. The first thing is Ryan Kent. The first thing is Ryan Kent and the supposed interest for Burnley. Is that something? How would you feel if Ryan Kent left the club at the end of the season?
Well, Martin, I've seen him 3 times at Ibrox already, and I just think he doesn't want to be there, mate, because the 3 games that I watched at Ibrox, his expression on his face, I don't think he wants to be there. If he doesn't want to be there, well, go. You know what I mean? We'll get somebody else. You know what I mean? I know it's going to take a good thing to get somebody else, but we can move. We've got to move on. We can't just wait on him.
That's fair enough. I mean, James, is that fair for Dave that he doesn't look interested? He doesn't look like he wants to be there.
I think it does. I think I've always been a guy that's tried to defend Ryan Kent, by saying that he's obviously tracking back and stuff like that. But the last couple of games, he's not even been bothering to kind of get back and help out his fullbacks. And I think that for me was always a big thing about Ryan Kent, was he would get back and do the dirty side of things as well as getting forward. But he just seems to have lost interest. I don't know if he's felt a love or whatever with the club or something, and just needs a fresh start and needs to go. I agree with Mark. I think obviously Kent needs to go and Morelos needs to go now. Morelos goes with my best wishes. The wee man's obviously more than paid his £1 million back to the club, gave us some great nights, great goals and stuff like that. But it's time for a fresh start now, and it's time to obviously get rid of the people that don't want to be here now and don't want to fight for the club.
And just finally, before I let you go, Dave, the boy Duke at Aberdeen, is he somebody that excites you? Is he somebody you want to see in a Rangers shirt?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him if we can get him. You know what I mean? It's going to take a lot because Burnley are after him at the moment. So would he come to Ibrox? That's the main thing. You know what I mean? The Premiership's got more money, so.
No, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And just finally then, what's the weather like down in Corby? It's been a while since I've been there.
Oh, it's been lovely, Martin. It's been lovely. I've been working all day, 12 hours today.
Oh, we'll see Alan with on the
12 hours, Martin, doing sausages.
There you go. Happy days. I only done 8 hours a day, so there you go. You made me feel terrible. Dave, buddy, thank you very much for the call. Make sure you phone back.
And don't forget, Martin, we are the people. And
yes,
we stick always. We are the people from Corby.
Good man. Good man. Cheers, Dave. Speak to you soon, buddy.
All right, don't surrender. Bye.
There we go. How did that sound, folks? Was that all right? How was the sound on that? Did that work? I'm hoping so.
That echo at the end, but the majority of it was all right.
Probably because I turned my microphone back on at the end. That's probably how. Like I say, I need to get a producer sorted for this, because if I get a producer sorted, this is going to be the best phone in on the internet. 100%. Right. Okay. Rabble Matondo, folks, right? Stuart, I'm going to go to you on this. You were at the game. So it'd be good to get a perspective of somebody who was there. Rabble came on and he actually done something. He looked re-energised, reinvigorated. Is he somebody who you can see getting a run in this team towards the end of the season?
Towards the end of the season, yeah. Whether that runs between now and the semi-final, I'm not so sure. But I think he's he looks a confidence player to me, and you've got to just hope that wee cameo, which is very nice, by the way. You know, I think he deserves a bit of credit for the way he picked out Morelos. It's perfectly weighted, so Morelos can just stroll onto it and hit it first time. But yeah, look, hopefully that's a small building block of kind of building his confidence back up. There's clearly a player there. You don't play for the teams he's played for and become a Welsh international if you're not a decent footballer. We just haven't seen it. And I don't. He's got criticism, right? And maybe some of that is deserved, but we want him to be a success. Generally we've spent a lot of money on him. We're investing a lot of money in a weekly wage in him, so we want him to work out here. Like I say, I think he will get an opportunity. I think that will depend on what happens, in the semi-final, how quickly that happens. But he'll certainly get game time between now and the end of the season, to hopefully show a bit more of what he's capable of. But it was a nice cameo from him. I'm not going to get too excited by it. But, like I say, hopefully it's a small step in building his confidence up.
The question's in the title, Mark. Can Matondo make any sort of impact in this team? It's impossible to judge off one game. You can't judge off one game. But will he get the chance to, and will he make an impact? I'm leaving it to you to predict the future.
Asking the wrong guy here. I think for me, I like to give somebody a chance. He's not had a great season. He's not the first person that's come into Rangers and not had a great first season. So I would like to give the boy the benefit of the doubt. We paid a few bob for him. I've seen something in him. Not much, as I said. He's not played a lot of football for Rangers, and he's been playing predominantly on the right side, which I think when he signed, every single person that jumped on YouTube or done any sort of a looking up or videos or anything like that of the boy, it was predominantly left-sided. So let's give him a chance on the left side. I don't see why we wouldn't. If he's fit, maybe the wee breaks gave him a wee bit of, took the heat off him. I think there was a period there where he was getting tortured by everybody left, right, and centre. So I think it takes the heat off him a wee bit. I think that one thing is he's definitely quick. He's absolutely rapid. So I don't know. As I said, you give a boy a chance. He's no really for me ever had a run of games. Like you said, Stu, Welsh international, played in Germany, played in the Bundesliga. And in fact, did he play in the? I don't think he did play in the Bundesliga. Was he in the lower league? And in fact, they signed him and then he went down, didn't he? So this season in the second division in Germany. But look, good pedigree as well. Came for Man City as well. So there's got to be something there. Got to be something there. As I said, I think he's very much a confidence player as well. So maybe Beals gave him a wee cuddle and said that we think you're amazing, and might be the start of him kicking on. I don't know. I hope so.
Right, well, I can bring in Jack, not Jock, as I called him 3 times before I brought him in. Jack, how you doing?
I'm all right, Martin. How's yourself?
Yeah, not bad, mate, not bad. I'm a wee bit stressed tonight, but I'm getting there. What's on your mind, bud?
I was just going to hear a wee thing about Ross Wilson leaving. If you boys think that's going to be a hamper to us with transfers, etc., and also, do you believe we're going to have the money behind us to get the quality and to challenge Celtic, knowing that they'll probably strengthen again as well? That was my question. Cheers.
Right, on the Ross Wilson one, will it hamper transfer targets, James? I suppose you take everything that everybody at Rangers says with a pinch of salt, but the manager has come out and said it will have no effect. So we've just got to take the manager at his word, don't we?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, I don't think Wilson leaving's going to. I think Beale's already identified who he wants to bring in. He basically said that as much as well. He was wanting to bring a striker in or something as well in January, but couldn't get it out of the line or whatever. And they would obviously revisit that again in the close season. So I don't think Wilson leaving, will have any impact on what Beale wants to do. Obviously, Beale's said that he's getting a good, healthy budget. Probably one of the best ones, he says, that a Rangers manager's had in quite a few years. So I'm actually looking quite forward to the summer now to see who's going to be coming in and a style of play that Beale's going to bring into the team.
I mean, Stuart, a lot of Rangers fans, but weren't happy with the kind of recruitment side that was happening at the club, and a lot of people blamed Ross Wilson for that. Whether it was solely Ross Wilson's fault or not, we don't know. But I suppose if Ross Wilson leaving, people weren't happy with the recruitment. I don't really know how it could then affect recruitment coming in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, so I think for those folk who were in that camp, him leaving is what they wanted, because then, technically he shouldn't really have any involvement. I think I'll go back to what I said previously. I think Beale is more hands-on on this, and I think Beale realises that this is such a huge summer for us that he needs to be hands-on with it. I think if this was just a case where we just needed a small refresh or anything like that, then there maybe he would be more inclined to do that what Gio said and say, I need a player. Looking for somebody to fill this kind of role in the team, and then they go away and do it. I think Beale recognises that he's got to be in this. It's the players that he wants, because it's a massive season coming up for him. So I just on the second point there, I mean, I'm one that doesn't believe that the gap between us and them is as big as people make out. Is there a gap? Yeah, there is. But I don't think it's as big as made out. I think we've started to see, with the introduction of people like Raskin and Cantwell, that, they're coming here. And I'd like to think that they're going, is that it? Is that what they've got? I think we've just got too many players who are a bit scarred by some of the defeats and so on. And I think actually moving them on and getting a freshness into it will help just as much as improving the quality of our team. So they will strengthen, that they've got absolutely no doubt that they will do that. But I've got a bit of confidence, given what we've seen there with those two signings, that if we can get players of that ilk in, that actually I think we'll be in a far better position to challenge them, because we're now dealing with the smaller teams in this league. We weren't doing that. It's now that final step of getting them. And yeah, we haven't got the results. Appreciate that. But I think there have been signs. Cup semi-final side where we didn't really play, but I don't know. But in the league games, I think we've seen that we're more of a threat to them. So, I think next season, if he gets the players he wants, then I think it's game on.
What about yourself, Jack? Is the budget thing a worry for you? Is the gap between us and them a worry? Do you think we can bridge that gap over the summer, or do you think are you worried about the financial power that Celtic have got?
As you said at the start, believing anything that comes out of Rangers, it's hard to believe some things. I think he shouldn't have came out and said he's got the biggest budget, because if he doesn't go and get the quality everybody wants, then he's going to look silly. But I really hope he has got the budget, and I do believe in him. And obviously the gap, the last game, the 3-2, you could see the gap was closing, even with his two signings, Raskin and Cantwell. It's looking positive if you can get more of them in with that quality. I don't think there is such a big gap, but obviously Celtic have got the funds available to strengthen again. But I believe I was just a bit worried with Ross Wilson, because I wasn't his biggest fan, but he done a lot of the talking, negotiating. He just left, so does that maybe hamper some signings? I was just wondering the thoughts on that. But no, I'm positive, and hopefully Beale will get it right, and we'll be back at where we belong.
Thanks very much, Jack. And now I know your name. The next time you come on, I won't call you Jock 4 times.
No worries, mate. No surrender, boys.
Hey, cheers, man. Speak to you soon.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a point, Mark. The financial gap between us and them. We don't know how big the gap is financially. But I think it might have been CGM in the comments that said it. Just because you spend more money on certain players doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to get the quality that you think you're going to get. So I think it's really the same for us as it's been the last 3, 4, 5 years. We've just got to spend wisely. And if you look at Raskin and Cantwell, I suppose you've got to trust in the manager.
Yeah, I think there's bargains out there. I mean, you look at, like you said, Cantwell 1.5 million. A couple of years ago they were shouting about 35 for him. So that for me is a great bit of business. And if same with Raskin as well. Raskin looks like like a player, and I don't think we paid an awful lot of money for him as well. So it can be done. So, like you said, I think spending wisely rather than just flinging money at a problem. Disney always make it. If you buy a fancy car, it can break down just the same as a Shanna. So I think that flinging money at it's maybe not the problem. I think you'll probably get closer to the finished article the more money you spend. But I think that up in Scotland, especially us, we're no going out to try and buy the finished article. We cannot afford the finished article. So I think the plan would be to try and bring something in with potential. Hence the reason I'm kind of harping back to what we said about Beale and players that he's worked with before. So as I said, there's maybe a wee nugget here or there that he's worked with over the years that he's thought, "Do you know what? That young boy's going to be a right good player," and he's maybe no felt his potential, a la Cantwell. So I'm hoping more players like that. I'd be over the moon. As I said, great calibre of player that he's brought in so far. So his start to these transfers, his transfer business at Rangers has been very good. So if he can bring another 5 or 6 in like that, I'd be over the moon. I think we'd be flying.
Martin, just to say, I mean, I'm just going to contradict myself ever so slightly from what I said before. They will attempt to strengthen. They will lose players in the summer as well. So there's no guarantee that who they then bring in has the same impact. So if that's a Kyogo that maybe goes, or a Hatate or anything like that, they've made mistakes in the transfer market as well. It's not all worked out for them. They've signed that Polish boy, that was a disaster. Greek goalies, all that. So, yeah, look, you've got to give them some credit. They've been able to pick up some bargains. But if they lose them now, then there's no guarantee that who they bring in works or is absolutely better than them. So, there's risks in all signings, and that works for them as well as us.
Aye, but when you've had success, you're going to trust your manager if you've had success, haven't you? And that's let's be honest, that's what they've had, and we haven't. So, I'll take one more call if you want. 01416287237. We're going to discuss one more player, and I don't think it's going to be a happy discussion as James looks like he's ready to fall asleep. But yeah, 01416287237. Get the phone call in. It'd be good to get 4 calls in a show, hopefully, and the all calls sound good and we're all happy, and I can move forward and I know what I'm doing. 6.5 hours last night. I was at it 2:30. I think it was 2:30 in the morning. Unbelievable, Jeff. James John Lundstrom. Again, I don't like to come on any of these shows and have a go at any Rangers player. It just, I don't like it, right? Against St Mirren there again. In fact, I'll just ask you, what was your thoughts on his performance before I say my piece?
As I said on Saturday, mate, I thought it was another poor performance again. Very, I don't know, sluggish. Not the guy he was last year. Again, I don't know if he's carrying a knock in some way, but it just seems to be his second touch is a tackle, which I said on Saturday, and he looks so far off it. It's actually frightening. And then I think the biggest thing I thought, man, was giving him the captain's armband. I just thought, where's that came from? Do you know what I mean? And I know it's not a big thing in the grand scheme of things, but for me, I just thought his performance again, he just didn't look like John Lundstrom for 7 months ago. He just looked very, very poor again.
Is there no kind of method in the madness there for Beale, though, Mark, in terms of giving Lundstrom the captain's armband? Because, listen, maybe it is just an absolute and complete confidence thing with John. Because we have seen good performances. We know there's a player in there. So is that, like I say, is that not just maybe a reverse psychology? Is the phrase I'm looking for?
Yeah, my opinion, you're probably right. I think that, I mean, if I look at a bigger picture, I think that Lundstrom, when he first came in, when he was playing poorly, I think he was trying too hard. I really do. I think that once he settled down, I think we've seen the real Lundstrom. The first 6 months he was rotten, but as I said, for me, I think he was trying too hard, and I think at the moment he's out of form, and he's again trying too hard. He's trying to push things, and he's trying to make things happen. And I think that he's trying too hard, and I think that that's what the problem is. You don't play like Lundstrom played the second half of last season, and then all of a sudden you kind of kick a ball. So for me, there's something there. I think probably you're right. I think it's a psychological thing. I think he's trying too hard. He's trying too hard to impress, and sometimes that's the worst thing you can do in football. I think probably what Lundstrom needs is this season to end and him to go away and chill out for a couple of weeks and come back and have a good pre-season. I think that's what he needs. I think come the start of the season and he's still no in that form, then it's maybe a case of, right, okay, we've given him a chance pre-season, still no happening for him, it's still no clicking for him, then maybe it's time we go, right, last year's contract, maybe look at try to get him moved on just before the window shuts. But I think the boy needs a chance. I think for what he's done second half of that season, last season, I think he deserves a crack at the whip. I know that a lot of people have been giving him stick, but it's not like Rangers fans to like a whipping boy, is it? We just moved from Tav. Barisic got it for half a season, and Tav went back to Tav again. Then Goldson got it for a bit as well. Lundstrom's new getting it. Kamara's had it. Even Alfie's had it this season as well. So, as I said, I see a bit in him. I see there's a potential there for him to be a right good player. He's a decent age. He's mobile. He's strong. He can pass the ball. All right, it's not working for him at the moment, but for me, he's a good player. I think he's a good player. For what I've seen that second half of that season last season, that wasn't a fluke. That was a real John Lundstrom. I think maybe his ugly twin brother or his evil twin brother's been playing this season for us, but he's capable, and that's what annoys me more. See, if it was rotten and he was just rotten, then I can live with that. But I've seen that he's capable. So I said Scott Wright, I've never seen him being capable at all. So all right, we'll get into Scott Wright for that. But for me, Lundstrom's been capable, so there's no reason why he can't be capable again.
That was a lot of capables.
Capable.
It was a lot of capables. Stuart, actually, just to really quickly change the subject, because it looks like there's a lot of people who are too scared to phone in, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I mean, if it was me personally and I was sitting watching this, I'd be going, "You're talking absolute nonsense. I'm going to phone 01416287237. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to tell them that they're talking nonsense." But, oh, by the way, we've got a live show, folks. Yes, we do. 19th of May at Lounge 72 in Uddingston. Again, I forgot to put the link in the description of the video. But if you head over to our socials, you'll see the links. Come and join us. It's a nice wee night. All proceeds are going to the Rangers Charity Foundation. So I hope you can come and join us. I think there's about 25 tickets left. And of course, like and subscribe and share the video and all that good stuff. But I wonder if in the next 3 or 4 minutes, Stuart, there's anybody brave enough to phone in. We shall see. But finally then, Stuart, Ben Davis, he seems to be becoming the new whipping boy. Is that fair, or does he deserve
it? I think he's had a couple of poor games. I think that was that's probably a bit harsh. Up until he makes the mistake in the Celtic game, I thought he was actually fine. I don't think he had a great game at the weekend, I have to say. And I don't know whether that's a confidence thing. I think you could certainly start to hear the murmurs at Ibrox. There's some people who it appears are already starting to make up their mind about him. I think part of that is down to the way he plays. He's not a Richard Gough. He's not a Terry Butcher. He's not that kind of style. And again, I don't know if Rangers fans feel that that's what they want in a Rangers centre half. I think he's had a couple of poor games. Would I be surprised if he moves on in the summer? If we got an opportunity to just get our money back? I wouldn't be overly surprised at that. I do wonder if he would look better in the back three. Again, you know, and touching on something I think we mentioned earlier, I think it does show the importance of Goldson there, because I think Goldson is the leader out of that. And I don't know, maybe Davis benefits from having somebody who kind of takes that mantle on, playing beside him. I think he's a decent footballer. I think he's got a lovely left foot, he's quite cultured, etc. He's had a couple of poor games. So it's a kind of big end to the season for him, I think, particularly with that cup semi-final going off, because I think if that form continues, I think you can then see that there'll be quite a few Rangers fans will have made up their mind about him, and it won't be in a positive way.
I mean, James, I continuously say how much I don't know about football, but I think Ben Davies is a really good centre-back, and I think he's just had a couple of poor games. Not so much poor throughout all the game. He's made a couple of silly mistakes. One obviously one was a horrendous mistake, right? But I think he's a good centre-back, and I think when him and Goldson were in the team, we were all screaming about how good their partnership was.
No, I agree that he's had a big mistake against them, and obviously I think everybody jumps on the bandwagon again about saying drop him, get rid of him and stuff like that. But no, for me, him and Goldson together looked solid. They looked like they were getting up a good partnership, and it's hard. Goldson drops out the team, Shooter comes back in, and then you're trying to get that partnership again. We are brand new centre half that hasn't kicked the ball a season for us. But no, I think Davis has done well for us. I don't think he's been horrendous. I think he's been decent, and I wouldn't want to get shot at the big man in the summer and stuff like that, because I do think there is, as obviously Mark could obviously say to him about Lundstrom, I think there's a player there with Davis.
Aye, so do I do. Okay, folks, that will do us for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully now that I've got this absolutely sorted bang on, as the weeks go on, the phone in will get a bit more popular and more people will phone in. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Mark, Stuart, James, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Like I say, thank you everybody for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share. And like I say, if you want to come and join the nearly 100 people we have over on Patreon, then feel free to do so. The link for that is in the description. Loads and loads of extra content and all that good stuff. And we do have a live show on the 19th of May at 7:45 at Lounge 72 in Uddingston. The link for which I will put in the description very, very, very shortly. But yeah, I hope that all went well. I hope the sound was all good for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. That's the most important thing. I hope you enjoy it. And thank you very much. And we shall speak to you again on Friday night.